Kyle, good to see you. I am so excited about today's topic. It's on everybody's minds. Can I retire early? A recent survey of 2,000 retired Americans found that most expected to retire at 63.2 years old, but instead retired at 61 and a half. And 1 in 3 said they would have retired earlier if they'd had the chance, of course. So, how much money do I need in the bank to retire early?
Erin, that's a great question. We've seen more early retirements, I think, in the last 3 years than we've ever seen. But there's no clear-cut answer. I wish there was. I wish those headlines were true. You need at least $1 million to
Right,
retire,
right.
but that's not necessarily the case. It's so specific, based on everyone's situation. But I will tell you this: one warning: the biggest mistake we've seen when people do retire early is they cash out their whole 401k. That's
Mm.
a really bad move because that's all going to be counted as taxable income in most cases, and you may lose about 40% of that to the government.
Yikes, that is a big mistake. Thanks for that heads up. So what is the first step then to figuring out what will get me to and through retirement?
Okay. The first step is planning, right? Overall. But the first real step inside that plan is understand your budget, create your spending plan, and think about how you're going to spend money when you're retired. That's your first step because that's going to create your baseline for the plan. After that, you're going to look at your Social Security benefits, right? What's my Social Security benefit going to be at all my different ages? And then you're going to calculate your shortfall between those two numbers, right? What's my budget? What do I need? And then what's my Social Security going to provide me moving forward? That's your gap, right? That's your retirement gap. You and I have talked about it before.
Mhm,
How are you going to address that? You address that with your savings. Do I have enough?
mhm. Now, I'm glad you brought up Social Security because a lot of us, when you retire, you're no longer getting a paycheck. So it may be tempting to claim Social Security early, but if you do, you could be facing a lifetime of reduced benefits. Social Security is so complicated, Kyle, but I know that claiming strategies is something you specialize in. Explain what we should be keeping in mind.
Right. We've done a bunch of these plans for
Yeah.
clients. We always talk about Social Security, whether it's going to be the bulk of your retirement income or just a small part of it. Most everybody is eligible for this program. Here's the thing that you have to keep in mind with Social Security, and that's life expectancy. That's kind
Mhm.
of the biggest X factor outside of retirement income that you need to assign to that decision. So the math, if you live to life expectancy, which is about 84 to 87 for depending on if you're male or female, but really what that comes down to is if you have a lot of health concerns and you're heading into retirement, you may not want to wait till age 70 to claim. You may not have that benefit for very long. So depending on your life expectancy, do you come from a family of long livers? What's your health situation? That should also come into play, not just the raw figures.
Mhm. So many variables to consider. So, what about healthcare though? Because a lot of us rely on our employer for health insurance, and Medicare doesn't start until we're 65. So, let's say that I want to retire early at 60. What do I do for those 5 gap years?
Well, I think that this is a really valid question for a lot of people, and we've talked to quite a few people about this. There's not a great solution. If you're leaving an employer with a health plan, they're going to eat a lot of that cost for you typically. But the best solution is to get a marketplace plan or an ACA plan, right? We don't recommend that clients cut corners or typically, just ride it out without coverage. That could be catastrophic.
Hmm.
So you need some form of coverage. There's also these short-term medical plans that we've seen some people use. If you're in excellent health, you have like maybe 1 year to go, you could qualify for that short-term medical plan. It'll kind of bridge that little 1 year gap for you until Medicare. But we work with a company here in town that's all they do is medical plans. That's it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we'll send clients to them and we'll kind of give them a briefing on what they need, what they're looking for. And so we're making sure clients get professional assistance all the way through this decision.
Hmm. Kyle, I really appreciate it when you and I can dive into these one-line answers that we hear, like, you need $1 million. Oh, wait, it's
Right.
actually a bit more complicated than that. What I'm hearing you say, though, is that planning is key. So if somebody wants to retire early, getting those ducks in a row right now is essential. How can somebody contact you with questions?
Absolutely. The best way to contact us is through our website. It's firstcoastfinancialgroup.com.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron.